to a new episode of A Day in the Life of a Virtual Latino. My name is Jennifer Salazar, and I'm going to be your host for today's episode. Today we have Katelin. Welcome, Katelin. Thank you so much for being here with us. How are you today? How's your day so far?
Everything's going great. Thank you so much.
Great. How's the weather back there where you're in Guatemala right now, right?
Yes, I'm in the capital. The weather is good. It's been a little crazy lately, but today it's like perfect outside.
Actually, right now it's a little bit chilly, but I don't know, maybe, we're going to be having the summer weather coming soon. So I think the sunny days are coming. So I'm really happy for that. Right now, I'm a little bit chilly, but I think that weather is going to improve. So it's going to be great. I bet our audience would like to get to know you better and know a little bit about you. Can you tell us a little bit about you, your hobbies, if you have pets, anything that you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, well, I've been living here in Guatemala for about 6 years, and prior to that, I was living in the United States. My main passion was to go on missions, and that's how I ended up here in Guatemala. I never thought that I would end up living here, but it turned out that I just fell in love with the country. And while I've been here, I've been exploring other hobbies. I love cooking. That's one of my other passions besides the work that I do. And I have my husband here in Guatemala. We actually met here. So that's another one of the beautiful things that I was able to find in this country.
Cool. And I have here in my notes too that you also are studying or learn Korean, right?
Yes, that's true. I'm studying every day with my sister online.
Oh my God. Actually, back in college, when I was in college, I did 2 modules from beginner Japanese, and I loved it. I mean, I think it's not this, I bet it's not the same actually, but I fell in love with all these like languages from Asia and everything. So I was really intrigued to learn more, but then I just got myself into more subjects from my career. So I couldn't get more levels from the Japanese. But yeah, when I saw that you were actually studying Korean, I was really happy. And I said, oh my God, that's really cool. And have you're still learning Korean, or you just already finished all the levels?
Oh no, it's been like 2.5 years, but I feel like it's still even hard to have a conversation. I mean, I think it's one thing to learn how to read and write, and it's another thing to learn how to actually live in that culture. And the whole process of learning a language, for me, when I came here to Guatemala, it was that process of Spanish. But I think the same thing we would have to do to learn another language, basically practice it every day.
Yeah, of course. And now the good thing is that you're learning it with your sister. So you're gonna have a partner so you can talk and practice. Yeah. When I was learning Japanese, that was my problem. I didn't have anyone to practice it, especially here in Latin America. I mean, it's not a specific language that we talk, with people here. So it was hard for me. Then I just kind of forgot. But then when I hear some words, then I remember. So I also learned French at school. So I'm very good at languages, but with Japanese, I just got stuck. But I didn't have anyone to practice. So that's a good thing that you have your sister so you can practice the language. Tell us, Katelin, is this the first time that you're actually working online, or do you have any type of experience that you have previously worked, from your home before?
Right. So originally I was actually working in person when I came here to Guatemala, but since COVID started, my work shifted to be online. So it wasn't that I was actually looking for online work. It just suddenly became online. And I think that's when my eyes opened to the whole world of working online.
Yeah, and you start liking it and say, hey, I actually can do this, right? This can be a new way of work for me. So it worked pretty well. And what about your professional background? You said also that you were a missionary, but did you have any previous experience working? Like, for example, you're right now as an executive assistant for one of our clients in the tech health industry. That was your professional background, or you were doing something completely different before?
Actually, administration was something that I was working in before. So ever since I was little, I was very interested in administration. My mom, she was an office manager and an admin assistant. And when she was doing that work, I would go after school and help her. I would make copies, I would prepare documents, I would just see like any little thing that I could help with. So when I went to college and I was looking for part-time jobs, that was what I ended up working in. I worked for a construction management company as an intern basically. And I also worked at the university in an admin assistant position.
Oh, cool. Now, moving on now to remote work. How is a day in the life of Katelin as an executive assistant? What can you say that is like your main things that you do inside your role?
Well, within my role, it's first the work as an executive assistant, which is just making sure I'm on top of everything that's going on in the client's schedule. Staying on top of emails, staying on top of social media, staying on top of the calendar. And once all of those things are managed, there's also other projects that I take on. So the client has actually allowed me to work with other departments within the company. And I've had the opportunity to learn more about what they actually do behind the scenes. So it's exciting. I mean, it's a smaller company, so the role of executive assistant is something that I can manage while also learning other things within the company.
And how long have you been working with a client already?
3.5 months.
Oh, yeah. And how's, the getting along with the client, with the team? Has it been cool?
Oh, yeah, very cool. It's a very cool company. I mean, it's in San Diego. Everyone is young, very interested in the company's success. They're actually in like the early stages still. So it's like putting everything on the line to see how things are going to go. I've worked before in bigger corporations. So this is the first time for me working for a smaller company and getting to know like everything that's involved in a startup or something that's like in the earlier process. It's been very cool, very interesting.
Yeah, and it's very like rewarding for you to also be part of the company that is growing, because then when you look back at the years, you say, hey, I was part of this company who actually was growing with me when I was working there. Obviously, we hope that you last many, many years with the client and you strengthen that work relationship with them as well. In your opinion, what can you say that is the most important personality trait to work in a role inside in this case would be tech health industry?
I think definitely having a mind of wanting to advance is the most important. If your mindset as someone who's working online is just, okay, I'm going to work from this time to this time, and you're only interested in doing the time and not actually thinking about new ways to help advance, then it's probably better to just work where you're just doing the work. I don't want to name any examples, but there are other industries and where it's basically just labor that you're putting in. But having a mindset of actually trying to help the company advance, I think that's the most important in this industry.
Yeah, completely agree, especially when you're just, starting to grow with the company and you put like exactly like you said, like your mindset, like, hey, we're growing together. So I have my 100% effort and my 100% professional background so I can help this company actually grow in the best way possible. And how did you find out about Virtual Latinos in the first place?
So it's very interesting. I was actually looking for freelancer opportunities, and online there's so many scams that exist, so many companies that don't really have work opportunities. And I thought this one was a good opportunity, but I looked it up. And there was this article, and it said, this is a list of a bunch of online work opportunities that are false. And then at the end, and here are some good examples. And then one of the good ones was Virtual Latinos. So that's how I actually found out about it and looked it up.
Oh, that's so cool. And before you got hired, how long have you been here inside our community?
It was pretty quick, actually. I think from the time that I got accepted into the community to the time I got hired, it was about a month.
Oh, it was pretty quick, actually, because actually when I started, getting into the community, I think I had to wait like for 3 months before I got like the job. So it's about being patient, and, just looking for the job, keep applying, because then one day it's going to come, especially now you see that you were actually looking for freelancer sites or jobs. And why did you specifically choose Virtual Latinos for your career development? Why us in this case?
I feel like there's several reasons that I chose it, but the biggest thing is just the dedication to actually helping people grow professionally. Like, it's not just a platform where you're exchanging time and money, but it's really a platform that's connecting people with skills, actually taking into consideration how qualified people are, and then putting in all the effort to help them get connected to good opportunities. And I think just so many things about Virtual Latinos is amazing. But one of the first things I was able to note just by reading all the material that you guys have online was the fact that you really put in the effort to connect people with the ideal match between a client and an assistant.
That's why sometimes people say that our process is a little bit longer than other companies and everything. It's because we want to make sure that actually you find the perfect match. We don't only care about putting a VA with a client randomly. We care about putting a VA that actually feels good working with that particular client or with that particular role. That's what we do our research, and we want to see every single professional background that the VA has so that we make sure that actually they fit with the role that they are applying. So yeah, it's great that you also see that, because that's actually what we really care. Now, being here in Virtual Latinos, I bet has taught you many lessons. What can you say that's the biggest lesson that has taught you, and that maybe you would like to share with our audience that maybe are thinking about applying, or maybe they are thinking about just going into remote work for the first time?
I think something very good that the application process taught me was that if you really, with Virtual Latinos, if you really put in the effort to be professional, then it will pay off in the end. I think because of everything that exists online today, all the fake opportunities or the job search websites where no one ends up reading your resume can make people kind of make the job search very superficial, and they don't put effort into their applications, they don't put effort into their resume, because they think, well, anyway, I'm one of thousands of applicants, no one's going to see my resume, no one's going to take the time to really look into me. But through Virtual Latinos, because you know that there's someone on the other end who's actually looking, reading about you, asking questions to follow up, it really teaches those who are applying to be disciplined and professional. So I think if someone is interested in applying through Virtual Latinos, I think it's very important to realize that it's not just any place where you just do things superficially, but it's very important to put in the effort to be meticulous, be professional, be detailed, and really show what those traits that you have are that make you ideal as a candidate.
Yeah, and actually, I was having another interview the other day with another VA, and she mentioned something that it was really important. Like, people tend to think that maybe because it is virtual or remote work, your professional attitude should not be the same as you're having an office job. And it's completely the opposite. I mean, the difference is just that only maybe you're working on a coffee shop or in a working space or, your house, but it's the same. I mean, the commitment, the attitude, the professionalism, everything that takes for you to put in an office or regular job, it's the same thing as a remote job. So that mindset is very important. Like you mentioned, that it's not just about having your computer and sitting down and just being relaxed and everything. I mean, of course, that working remotely gives some perks. Like, you can make your own schedule, you can have freedom of time, and many things that are obviously very beneficial for us as remote workers. But obviously, we also have to put 100% of ourselves with the professional attitude and with all the commitment. So I really, really agree with you with that. Any advice that you would like to give to maybe some people that are just thinking about getting into remote work, or that maybe they are already in remote work, but they are struggling a little bit with getting used to the, this new modality of work? Any advice that you would like to give them?
Well, I mean, in regards to applying, I would definitely give the advice of applying to Virtual Latinos if it is someone who's actually in Latin America, because again, it's so hard to find a good opportunity online. There's so many lies on the internet. It's really hard to know who to trust. But I would definitely recommend applying to Virtual Latinos. And in regards to just working online, I think it really depends on the person at the end. I mean, there are people who might prefer working in person, and I totally get that, because their personality is very social, very outgoing. They feel just much more motivated when they're in that environment. But if it's someone who's working more on the admin side or in other assistant positions where most of the work is on the computer anyway, I think it's a really great opportunity to work online, because you're able to focus. You're not distracted by other things. You're not only looking at a clock and wondering when you're going to have another assignment and what to do in the meantime. You're not wasting time playing solitaire on a computer in an office, but you're really getting down to the work. And I think for anyone who enjoys like working on the computer, it's a really good opportunity.
Great answer. Thank you so much, Katelin, for joining us today. It was a pleasure getting to know you a little bit better and to see that you're actually really happy with us, with all the process that you went through when you were applying, and now that you finally got a job and you're working with one of our clients. Thank you again. And for you guys there, thank you so much for joining us. Also, stay tuned for more episodes of A Day in the Life of a Virtual Latino. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. I'll be seeing you again. Bye-bye.